I'm colorblind, and honestly, it's not that big a deal. When I was a kid in kindergarten, I stood on the wrong colored square on the floor. That was embarrassing. But as an adult, at worst, I might mismatch my socks or oversaturate my photos on Instagram. It was an artistic choice, Janet, okay? It's not like I see in black and white or anything like that. It's just, okay, look, when I see this, you see this. Right? It's there, it's real, subtle, but there is a difference. If I were an interior designer or an art restorer, it could be a problem. But actor, writer, real estate agent, I'll be fine. For my grandfather, colorblindness altered the course of his entire life. That's where I got it from, my mother's father. It's a genetic thing. He didn't even know he was colorblind until he was 18 years old and tried signing up for the Navy during World War II. Now see here, young man, besides being wary of Italians, they're on the wrong side of this conflict, you know. The US government can't have any colorblind macaroni heads mucking around on our ships. Navy boats are color-coded, pipes and valves and such. So you're just going to have to take your guinea ass to the army, or something like that. But like, even though I just showed you a photographic reference for my condition and touched on the science behind it, biologically it's linked to the X chromosome, and I threw in personal anecdotes both from my life and my grandfather's, sometimes, often, when I say I'm colorblind, people don't believe me. They get upset. They're peeved. My own father didn't believe me, even when the eye doctor tested me right in front of him and confirmed it. What the hell's the matter with you? Stop screwing around or I'll show you what black and blue really look like. Sorry, Doc, my kid's an idiot. Childhood trauma. The less aggressive, more typical response when I reveal my colorblindness is to immediately quiz me on the colors of nearby objects. What color is this? 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 Red, blue, green, yellow, pink, maroon? You're not colorblind. I said I was colorblind, not color stupid. Why am I telling you this? Because within every challenge is a gift. Here's what I mean. Over the years, this mild deficiency of my eyes has given me unique insight into a problem that has for some time now plagued our society and the state of civil discourse in this country, and which threatens, not undramatically, to end all life on this planet as we know it. I'm talking about reality. The problem of reality. My reality is different. I literally see a different world than the one you see, than the world more than 90% of the world's population experiences, at least visually. And that fact unnerves people. Even though color is just math, it's part of the electromagnetic spectrum. It's a tiny part, but it's there. We can measure the distance in the wavelengths of light that come from red and record by exactly how much it differs from the distance in the wavelengths of light that come from blue. And because we can do that, and because we can test a large enough representative sample of the population, we can know beyond a doubt that it is in fact my eyes that are wrong, or different from the majority of people on Earth. But what if, as I sometimes like to imagine, and go with me here, I ran the world? And what if because I run the world, I fill the governments and the media organizations with colorblind folks exactly like me? I establish a new world ocular order in which color shall henceforth be categorized only the way I see it. Pantone, I'm snatching your swatches. Crayola, your crayons are getting capped. Good luck, Sherwin-Williams. Try match and paint now, mother... Your phones, your computers, the TVs, the IMAX screens, whatever the hell that giant ball is in Las Vegas, it's all under my control, displaying only my mathematically skewed perception of reality. Oh, slow down, Machiavelli. Getting a little drunk on power here. Changing all the colors? I know, it's, shady. Even if that were to happen, more than 90% of you would still see the truth. And you'd be backed up by the laws of physics and biology and the cold hard calculus of a couple precisely plotted parabolas. Objective, measurable reality would support your perception of the world, not mine. But, and this is where I get a little dark, based on what I know of human nature, from what I've seen in the last couple of decades, my guess is if we were to carry on in this fantasy world scenario, a certain percentage of you, maybe even half of you, after being exposed to this altered color palette for a certain length of time, you would start to see the world as I see it. You'd become blind to the colors you used to be able to see, and your vision, which is interpreted after all in your brain, would become limited. In effect, you'd have a filter over your eyes without ever having made a conscious decision to put it there. You'd swear sunsets always looked like that. You'd be suspicious of a possible pro-spectrum agenda being taught in schools. You might pray in church for the false colorists to find their way back to the fold. And some of you would, no doubt, devise elaborate pseudoscientific experiments to prove that the colors of the Earth itself are not made up of curved wavelengths at all, but flat lines. You'd be a flat earther. Maybe that's pushing it. No one's that crazy. You get the idea. Your perception of reality can be influenced by the stimulus in your environment, even to the point of excluding the literal realities of that environment. Now, depending on where you fall on the political spectrum, you've probably already assigned the reality deniers of my little fiction to the politics of whichever party you oppose most strongly. And if so, you're absolutely right. That's what I was hoping you would do, and you totally missed the point. I'm not making this video to suggest that one political party is made up of a cult-like band of reality-denying sociopaths. like the current Republican Party. I'm making this video to remind you, but mostly myself, that there is an objective reality, and it is knowable. That's not the same thing as saying it's possible to know everything. It isn't. It's also not the same as saying there's no such thing as opinions. There are, and it's important we have them. But what matters most, what should matter most to you, to everyone, is that there is a reality we can agree upon whether we perceive it differently or not. There is a reality that can be known without denying how we may feel about it. I know I don't see the world as it is, not only color-wise, but in so many other ways. And I know my perception of reality is never going to line up with anyone else's to a 100% correlation of similitude. But as long as the airplane pilot and I both agree that the world is round, and Rhode Island is on the east coast of the United States, and the history books and I both agree it's typically cold there in the winter, and the weatherman and I both agree that forecast calls for a 90% chance of precipitation, I can trust with reasonable certainty that I can get to Watch Hill at exactly the right time to see snow on the beach, which is weird, but fucking beautiful. Stars by the pocketful. And none of that would be possible if reality could not be known and agreed upon to an astounding level of precision. If the algorithm got you here and you've made it this far, then you probably know that a philosophical razor is a convenient way to cut through an argument, to shave off, in a way, what isn't essential. The most popular example is Occam's razor, which is basically the simplest answer is often the best one. But I've recently become enamored with Hanlon's razor, which is never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. My colorblindness is a sort of stupidity of the eyes, and the disbelief or outright aggression that I receive when I reveal my deficiency comes from, I think, the assumption that I'm acting out of malice, that I'm being a dick just for the hell of it, which is crazy. I'm only a dick for a reason. The real gift of my colorblindness is that I'm in the position of knowing that there's a particular aspect to our collective, objective, measurable reality that I do not and will not ever see. And yet I have to agree, even though I'm literally blind to it, that what you see, what most of the world sees, is correct, and what I see is not. There's a cognitive dissonance to holding those two views of the world in my head at the same time, and I've had to become comfortable with that. Not because of some carefully considered spiritual dialectic struggle, but simply because those are the cards I was dealt. The eyes I was dealt. The eyes I was given. The eyes I grew. F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote, "The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function." He continued, "One should, for example, be able to see that things are hopeless, yet be determined to make them otherwise." At the moment, the idea that we'll ever have a fact-based, universally agreed-upon understanding of reality, yeah, that feels hopeless. But in whatever ways I can, I'll continue to promote, encourage, and work towards living in a world in which we do. And if you wanted to, you could do the same. I just think the truth matters. Color me an optimist. I'll see you in the next one. If there is a next one, does YouTube even exist in reality? What if this is all a simulation? Oh my God.